Hey everybody, Black Ninja 797 here, and welcome back to another episode of Call of Duty Zombies Myth-Busting Mondays. And today's video for the final myth, because you guys have been really liking the speedy types of myths about whether or not we can do things in a certain amount of time, I present you this. Can you build the lightning staff in Origins within 5 minutes or less? That is what we're going to be testing here at the very end. If you guys have been enjoying today's video, please drop a like. And if you have a myth of your very own that you would like to be featured in next week's episode, please put them here in the comment section down below. But with all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying this week's episode and the first episode of 2024 of Call of Duty Zombies Myth-Busting Mondays. Myth. Does using the suppressor attachment on the DSR and BO2 not wake up zombies stunned by an EMP grenade when you shoot? Alrighty guys, so the first myth is submitted in by Grim Citizen 3. So Grim, thank you for leaving your very first myth here on the channel. I greatly appreciate you. And by the way guys, just like this myth, I noticed that there was a lot of thumbs up on it because you guys really seem to like this myth. If there is a myth going forward that you guys really like, I highly encourage you guys to support each other's comments by dropping likes on them, so that way I know which myths to prioritize, so please do that. But yes, in today's video for the first myth, we're going to see if whether or not that when you throw an EMP at a zombie, because it makes them basically fall asleep, if I shoot a suppressed DSR, is the DSR loud enough that it will still wake them up regardless if the suppressor is on it. So I'm going to shoot at one right now, and you guys will see that when I shoot at the zombie, he will still chase me and wake back up, regardless of whether or not that I have a suppressor on. So the first myth is busted, and to me this is kind of dumb because the suppressor on the DSR and the EMP grenade in transit are both basically useless, and the fact that this is one scenario where I can see them both being justified if you combine them together and it still doesn't work, this just shows you that there is just sometimes just things that are beyond saving. Myth. Can you kill the Avogadro in BO2 with only the jet gun? Alrighty guys, so myth number 2 is going to be submitted in by Ace of Spades. So Ace, your myth here is going to be very quick, my friend, because this is something that I already know the result to. The answer is no, you cannot kill the Avogadro with a jet gun, because you can only end up killing him with melee attacks. That is how Treyarch has specifically designed this boss. However, I'm still going to showcase this nonetheless, so that way you can see it for yourself before your own very eyes. So shortly here, via console commands, I'm going to give myself the jet gun and just use it on the Avogadro. And as you guys can see, it's not doing anything to him. I would have killed him by now, considering the fact that the jet gun is one of the strongest guns in transit. So that means that the second myth is busted. Myth. Can you kill Brutus before he leaves his platform in Blood of the Dead after crossing the catwalk? Alrighty guys, so the third myth is going to be submitted in by my friend Tyler. Now, in this myth, I'm going to try to shoot Brutus when he's standing on the platform where he does his whole speech spiel, rise my minions, yada yada crap that he does in Blood of the Dead when you're crossing this specific section of the map. I have a LMG and a ray gun Mark II, and when I get close to him, I'm going to just lay my bullets into him. I'm going to see if this can kill him before he's done with his speech. And the thing is that right now, as I'm shooting him, it looks like it's not even giving me a hit marker. He's just doing his own thing, and then he ends up teleporting away, and I'm left to get killed by his minions. But thank God I have Dying Wish. Now, here is the thing, is that you guys are going to see here in a second that when Brutus spawns back into the map, where he's like just running around as his normal boss self, I will once again shoot him with the ray gun Mark II, and you guys are going to see that I can kill him with basically 2 bursts. And I shot him a lot more than 2 bursts worth when he was standing on that platform. So you guys are going to see me here shooting him right in the face, and right as I shoot him, he just drops. So that means that the third myth is also busted because I know I shot him for a lot more than just 2 bursts worth of ammo when he was on that platform, and if they were to connect, he would have already been dead. But it wouldn't acknowledge my bullets I was shooting at him, it wouldn't give me a hit marker or anything, it's just like as if he was invincible. Myth. Can you run faster through lava if you hold a turbine? Alrighty guys, so for myth number 4, the way I'm going to test it is that I'm just going to pick a spot in the map, and I'm just going to run back and forth from point A to point B without the turbine and see how long it takes me, and then I'm going to do it again while holding the turbine and see if I can move quicker when I'm holding it going in those same directions. So here I am just running from the transit bus all the way to the fog, and then here it is with me holding the turbine. And here's the thing, is that this is hard to like explain, but in the testing it felt faster, even though visually it's not going to be any faster for you guys because it takes about the same amount of seconds as it was without the turbine to get to point A to point B. If you've been keeping track of how long it takes me from the bus to get to the fog, it's roughly about 4 seconds. What I encourage you guys to do is that if you don't end up thinking that this myth is confirmed, do me a favor and load up Transit and try this for yourself, because you will understand what I mean about how it feels faster, even though it doesn't necessarily look faster. Now, even though I think it's confirmed, I can't end up saying it's confirmed because it's just a feeling. I don't have any actual proof. So, based off of the way that I know that the footage looks, but also acknowledging how I feel, I'm labeling the myth at plausible, so that way I can end up meeting somewhere in the middle. It's just a feel thing. I cannot explain it. You would just have to try for yourself to get what I mean. So because I can't prove it, you guys are just going to have to take my word for it, but we're going to meet in the middle and say plausible. Alrighty guys, and now it is time for the final myth, and once again it is going to be, can you build the lightning staff in Origins in 5 minutes or less? Genuine question. Do you guys think that we will be able to do it? I am curious. Let me know via the comment section down below. But with all that being said, guys, let's do the final myth. Myth. Can you build the lightning staff on Origins in less than 5 minutes? Alrighty guys, so here is the final myth. Now I do just want to let you guys know is that normally when it comes to the final myth, I try not to drag it out too long, but since this myth is about trying to complete something in 5 minutes or less without splicing the footage and making you guys think that I cheated, I'm going to have to show you everything. So this might be a long myth, but I think you guys will like the result. So this is going to be a lot of talking. But yes, the way I'm going to be doing this is that me and Dan are going to be working together to try to be as efficient as we can. Now, in my mind, the way I would like to imagine this is that if we got God RNG and everyone in the lobby got shopping free, so that way you could do this legitimately. So that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be giving ourselves shopping frees and running around the map. The moment that I give myself my first shopping free, there's going to be a timer on screen, and then we're going to be seeing how long it will take us. Now, with that being said, since there only was 2 of us, we're going to give ourselves each 2 different shopping frees. Dan gets 2 and I get 2 to mimic if we had 4 players and everybody got shopping free. So shortly here, I'm about to activate mine, and Dan's going to go the opposite way of me. So here we go. I'm giving myself shopping free, and I'm running now. The objective here is to end up having it where I end up opening the tank side of things so that way I can start collecting the staff parts, while Dan also is going to go to Gen 4 to try to get the lightning disc. Because if this was just a solo game, there would be no way in absolute hell that this would even work. In fact, actually, there's going to be a main point I'm going to be talking about at the very end of the video, so make sure you guys stay tuned because it's going to affect the final result. I also want to point out, by the way, why Dan is turning on Gen 3. What we found out from doing an attempt before this is that you cannot pick up any of the staff parts that are on the tank route if a generator is not turned on. I assume that this is because Treyarch assumes that if you're trying to go for the lightning staff and you've not turned on the power, you're probably most likely cheating, which makes sense, although you could just be doing a no power challenge. Let me know if you guys would like to see that as a future video. But anywho, basically I'm about to go onto the tank now with the very end of my very first shopping free. Also, by the way, an additional point I would like to point out is that I'm going to have no clip on for portions where I just miss the tank jumps, because technically there's moments where I'm just bad and I miss, and you guys would understand that the no clip is just to make up for lost time if I miss the jump, because basically the second that I use with no clip is negligible if it actually affected the time, which, by the way, just so you guys know, it's not gonna, because I already know what the final result is, but you guys can be the judge of that. Now, there's something really critical that's going to make or break this myth, is how long does it take for the tank to end up recharging? Because for those of you guys that forgot, the Origins tank has to recharge. It is not going to be usable 24/7, and I don't remember what the time is. So for me, this felt like nerve-wracking, because genuinely so. There was moments when I was testing this for the first few times where I was like, I think I might be able to do it, and I think I might not be able to do it. There was no like, oh my god, I know for sure that I can do this, or oh my god, I know for sure that I'm not going to be able to do this type of thing. Anywho, I got at least the very first piece, so kudos to me. We so far at just over 2 minutes. But now this is the part that sucks. We have to wait for the tank to recharge. I'm going to give myself a guess, because I genuinely don't know, even looking back on it. Like, this is my first time looking back at the footage in my editing software here. I want to guess it's about like a minute to like a minute and a half that it takes the tank to recharge. It felt like a long time, Or at least it did in terms of, like, the fact that I was trying to rush and the game wouldn't let me. Because there's no workaround, as far as I'm aware, for trying to get the lightning staff parts unless you use the tank, which is the only legitimate method, unless you want to cheat, that is, which we didn't want to do because we wanted to see if you could do this in a legit game. See, the things like the ice staff, the fire staff, and a wind staff are all going to be basically impossible. Because the ice staff is RNG, the wind staff's a little bit of RNG too. The fire you can sort of control, but it's just like it takes forever to get certain pieces because you have to wait till like round 8 to kill a Panzer. So that's why I chose lightning. I even mentioned how in one of my hot takes videos that I really do like the lightning staff because I feel like I can build it quick and efficiently. And this is exactly my point. I feel that genuinely I can build it around in like 5 minutes or less. I'm pretty proactive, especially with BO3 where there's gobble gums, because there's no way in hell this would work without gobble gums. If this was in Black Ops 2, this would probably take me, I want to say, 15 minutes. Alright, so I believe right around here is when the tank is finally good to go again. And I think it was pretty accurate with my guess, where I think it was around like a minute and a half that took to recharge. So here we go. And just so you guys know, also, I'd like to clarify something. If you're wondering where, if, like, in a legit game, if I would be able to have access to a Gobblegum machine to get these shopping frees, there's a Gobblegum machine at Gen 2, so after my first one wore off, around the time that I activated the tank and getting the first lightning staff piece, I ended up getting what would be my second shopping free right as the tank is going back around and hitting Gen 2. So this is pretty legit so far. Now, I just want to point out here also as well, is that when I went to go get my piece, Dan didn't know where the lightning staff piece was. He just doesn't build the staff, so I had to help him out by going and flying with no-clip myself. This was the part I was telling you guys about where I need to use no-clip to help my buddy out. So here I am just going back to the tank, so that way I would make up for what Dan was supposed to do, but it's no hard feelings, Dan. So yes, here we are. We're landing on the tank, and I'm about to go get the third piece now. And unfortunately, we're cutting it very close. I don't know if you guys have been necessarily keeping track of the timer or if you're rather just listening to my voice, but I just collected the final piece. So we have all the pieces plus the disc. But it's about to be 5 minutes, and the one thing that you may or may not have noticed so far is that we don't have the lightning staff crystal, which therefore means that we're about to run out of time in the next few seconds. So by myself and with another player, this wouldn't be possible. However, though, I would like to circle back to what I was talking about a few moments ago, where I said I do have something that I would like to say that will end up being very critical when it comes to the result of this myth. At least solo and with another player, you cannot do this. But I want to keep showing the footage here in the background as I'm also mentioning this point, by the way, is that I would like to believe that if you had 4 players and you did the following of what I'm about to say, our odds would have been better. So what we would do is that me and Dan, if we were to play, like, let's say with my buddies Tyler and Glabersko, we would do this. Me and Dan would still do what we just did with the footage you are watching in this very moment, where we were going on the tank and getting all the pieces. Dan would still get the lightning disc, I would still ride the tank with him, and that would not change. If we had Glabersko and Tyler, one of them we would have go over to the excavation site and get the gramophone, so that way the other one could also go get that crystal that we failed to get within the time limit. If Glabersko, for example, like, let's say, went to the excavation site and then picked up the gramophone again, so Tyler could go into the lightning cave, go get the crystal, and then upon picking up the crystal, then Glabersko could go downstairs and build the lightning staff once all the pieces have been assembled within everybody's inventory, because anybody can build any staff once everyone has collected at least the parts somewhere in the map. So therefore, since me and Dan only took about 8.5 minutes with just the 2 of us, I want to say that the last myth could be plausible only if you had 4 players. It is obviously busted with less than that, but genuinely so. I believe that if all the stars align, it's at very least plausible. I'm not going to give it confirmed until I can prove it one day, but I'm going to go with plausible because I think what I said makes sense. Let me know if you guys think it makes sense in the comment section down below, and also just let me know what you thought about the final myth. But yeah, guys, that is it for today's video, and I hope you guys truly ended up enjoying it. If you did, please consider dropping a like, comment, subscribe, follow, and all that beautiful stuff. If you guys have a myth of your very own that you would like to have be featured in next week's episode, please feel free to leave them here in the comment section down below. Or if you guys want to, you can also leave them within my Discord server, which is going to be linked down below in this video's description. Happy New Year, by the way. I hope you guys ended up having an incredible 2023, and I look forward to many more Myth-Busting Mondays episodes with you guys in the very near future. But with all that being said, guys, I hope you end up enjoying seeing another YouTube video from the most unique YouTubers you're ever going to see. Thanks for watching, guys. I love all of you, and peace out.
Hey, meme lords, Jesus here, and you better have enjoyed that video there by the eternal god Daddy Ninja. You should probably subscribe too, or the mighty Moab will come for your balls. If you enjoyed the video, you might like it too. And give me the memes. Flash, bang, boom!
What the fuck? I'm shooting out jet guns. What the fuck?